Right now it's 6, an alert day is underway, and we've got some extreme cold settling in for a couple of days. Hattie has your alert day forecast ahead.
And with those well below freezing temperatures, we're tracking when you might expect to see some ice on Lake Mendota straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for waking up with us on your Tuesday, December 10th. I'm Leah Lynchine.
And I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Hattie McLean is talking about an alert day today.
Another one.
Another one. This time for the cold, not for the snow or the precipitation. Let's take a look at what's happening outside this morning. We do have 2 alert days in the forecast, actually. Highs in the teens today and tomorrow. That's well below normal for this time of the year. More importantly, pay attention to those wind chills. During the morning hours, wind chills as low as 10 below. On weather track, we still have some flurries and clouds across south central Wisconsin. Skies are already clearing to the west. No accumulation from these flurries, and they will be tapering off over the next couple of hours. Temperatures are still dropping, 14 here in Madison, 16 in Janesville, but with clearing skies to the west, temps quickly drop into the single digits above 0. Our wind chills over the next 12 hours, not that impressive. It'll feel like it's right around 0 to about 5 degrees throughout the day today. Now, that snow is not expected to impact travel at all this morning. We're not seeing any major delays on the Beltline. Getting a little busier on Stoughton Road at this hour, though. No other issues, though, to tell you about in and around Dane County. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk about that extended forecast that does have a nice rebound in the temperatures for the end of the week.
Boy, I'm liking the change there. We're doubling our temperatures after that.
We are, yeah, back above freezing.
Did you guys know we have 3 weeks left of the decade? Exactly 3 weeks.
The end of the 2010s.
The 2010s. Isn't that weird to say?
Yeah.
Time goes so quickly.
I know it does. It's scary.
All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
All right, to the headlines now. The winter chill in the air has many wondering when the area lakes will be ice fishing and skating ready.
And much like Wisconsin weather, it's pretty unpredictable. Our Keely Arthur joins us live from Lake Mendota on when we might see the big freeze. Hey there, Keely.
Hey, Leah and Josh. Yeah, December 20th is a pretty good bet. That's the average. But if last year is any indication, you should really expect the unexpected. Last year was the first time Lake Mendota froze twice. That's the first time that's happened in the nearly 160 years scientists have been tracking all of this. This is part of a warming trend that scientists say is happening in northern lakes across the globe, and they believe climate change plays a part. Lake Mendota is a lake that has frozen every year since records began in 1852, but over the years we've seen the number of frozen days dwindle. So there is, of course, a lot of science involved in all of this, but the way we first determined if Lake Mendota was frozen is about as Wisconsin as you can get.
UW president and also one of the early limnologists of Wisconsin and of North America. They were good buddies, and they would try and row a boat from Picnic Point over toward Maple Bluff with a case of beer. And kind of the determination as to whether the ice was on or off the lake was whether they could make that trek across.
And this day and age with satellites and drones, you think the measurements would be a bit more high-tech, but not really. They still use older methods, like just looking at the lake from certain vantage points, the same way they did that back in 1852. And they're sticking to those kind of approaches for continuity reasons. And you can get in on the action to figure out when this lake is going to freeze. You actually can guess, and if you guess correctly, you're going to win a $1,000 gift card from the Clean Lakes Alliance. Now, I'm not going to use any signs here. I'll guess January 5th. That's my mom's birthday. I think January 13th is Chris Reese's birthday. So those are my 2 guesses. Josh and Leah, what about you?
I'll go January 20th because that's my half birthday.
I'm going to go with December 24th because it's Christmas Eve. And that's what we all want. We want a cold,
all right, I love
Christmas.
it.
Yeah, we just need that snow that Chris has been wanting for.
Right.
All right, Keely
Well, we
Arthur.
can split the gift card and go on a little shopping spree.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm into it.
Keely Arthur live on the lake this morning. Keely, thanks.
6:04 on your Tuesday. An update this morning in the ongoing battle between Edgewood School and the Madison Plan Commission as the commission announces they will be leaving Edgewood's master plan in place.
This plan will essentially uphold the agreement prohibiting the college and high school from hosting nighttime sporting events at its field. The city attorney says even though the master plan was upheld, the city council still has the final say. There's also still pending legal action. Edgewood filed a religious discrimination suit against the city in August, arguing it is the only high school and college in Madison that isn't allowed to host night games. If the master plan were to stay in place, that legal suit would likely move forward. In a statement, the president of Edgewood High School, Michael Elliott, writes, in part, "From the start, Edgewood has simply asked for fair and equitable treatment for our student athletes. We look forward to the full council vote on January 7th.
The Madison School District is looking to spend $4 million on a building for students with special needs. The State Journal reports the building on the city's south side would house programs for about 3 dozen students with significant special education needs. However, an advocate on the autism spectrum shared an op-ed before the meeting, calling it a, quote, expensive, segregated facility plan. Board members say segregation in schools is a concern, but they also want to be sure kids are in an environment that can help them succeed.
Around the state this morning, a controversial school mascot is being retired after this school year. The Menomonee Falls School Board voted to get rid of the Indians nickname in a 5-2 vote. This comes after months of debate and a night of emotional testimony. Most of the residents who spoke wanted to change the name, but others fought to keep it. The district will form a committee made up of mostly students to decide on a new name.
The Waukesha student who pointed a pellet gun at officers leading to a police shooting is facing felony charges this morning. 18-year-old Tyrone Smith was shot after officers say he ignored their commands. An 11-year veteran with the Waukesha Police Department shot him 3 times, once in the leg and twice in the arm. Some of the charges against Smith include making terror threats and possession of a dangerous weapon at school. He's set to be in court again 1 week from today.
The Oshkosh school resource officer who shot a student who stabbed him is waking up at home this morning. Officer Michael Wisnick was released from the hospital and given a surprise police escort home yesterday. The 16-year-old, meanwhile, is facing charges of attempted first-degree intentional homicide.
Students on the UW-Milwaukee campus are on edge this morning as charges are filed against a 19-year-old accused in 2 separate cases of assault. Police say Jalen Durham walked up behind a woman in broad daylight and picked her up off the ground. When she screamed, he put her down and then just stared at her. Durham was released from jail in November after posting bond, but is back in jail again this morning for doing something similar just last week. Some students say they're now scared to walk to class alone.
Since he got out and he's still doing it, something needs to happen with that.
I don't ever walk to class anymore by myself.
Durham is charged with 4th-degree sexual assault and disorderly conduct for those assaults.
6:07 right now, and still ahead for us on this Tuesday morning. We're following the very latest in the ongoing impeachment inquiry into President Trump. This as members of the Democratic Party are expected to file articles of impeachment later this morning.
And our streak of alert days continues into your Tuesday. Hattie's in next with the latest on how long this cold snap's going to last. That's when News 3 Now this morning continues.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. You definitely have to up your winter gear game today. We have cold conditions, wind chill factors, and just temperatures that are significantly different from what they were yesterday. We have 2 alert days still in the forecast for today and tomorrow, with high temperatures only in the teens and those morning wind chills dropping to around 10 degrees below zero. Here's the range that we're in. We're talking wind chills in the 5 to 15, or I would say plus 5 to minus 15 range. We still have a wind around 10 to 15 miles an hour this morning, and temperatures are dropping into the single digits. So that's where we stand on the wind chill chart. Not cold enough for any advisories here across southern Wisconsin, but it is cold enough for a wind chill advisory in the Northwoods. So if you have family or friends in northern Wisconsin, they're likely waking up with a wind chill advisory this morning. As far as precipitation is concerned, still seeing a few flurries flying around here in the backyard weather patio, and some flurries continue along the lakeshore areas, but generally things are quieting down and drying out this morning to the west. No activity showing up on the radar map across Minnesota. Temperatures are pretty much below zero across Minnesota this morning and northwestern Wisconsin. Eau Claire and Ladysmith are at 2 below zero, 3 below in Superior, whereas we're here in Madison at 14 degrees still. Skies clear to the west, though, and temperatures quickly drop into the single digits for our western viewing area this morning. 9 in Mineral Point, down to 4 in Prairie du Chien. Wind is a factor. Luckily, I'm sheltered by the building here at Channel 3, but if you are out in the open, that northwesterly wind around 8 to 15 miles an hour is sending those wind chills below zero this morning. In fact, dropping even here in Madison to a wind chill now of 0. Your future track wind chills through the day. You're just going to have to bundle up all day today. As you head to work and school, wind chills will likely be below zero in all locations. Improving a little bit, not as many negative numbers on the map at the lunch hour, but wind chills still in the single digits. As you head home at 5, wind chills will already be approaching 0, and then will quickly drop below 0 through the evening hours. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We have 2 cold days this week, today and tomorrow, with temperatures topping only in the teens. A nice rebound in those temperatures, though, for the end of the week. We're actually above the freezing point on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Some light snow showers will be possible. These are not big snowstorms, though, so we're not looking at any accumulation as we go through the next week or so. The forecast then looks pretty quiet again as we head into next week. It's time to get a look at those first alert traffic maps this morning. Josh Tim has all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, it's another quiet start on the Beltline this morning. Really nothing to slow you down yet in either direction at this point. As we check out some other roads here in Dane County, there are a few brake lights starting to show up on Stoughton Road as you approach the Beltline. No delays downtown around campus. Plan on things getting busier over the next hour or so. And other main routes coming into the city, they're moving along at the posted speeds. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh, and thank you, Hattie. Developing this morning, House Democrats plan to move ahead with 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump.
They claim the president abused his power by using a White House meeting and hundreds of millions of dollars in military and Ukraine aid as leverage for the investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden. House Democrats also allege the president blocked subpoenas and documents across the executive branch as part of the investigation. The Judiciary Committee could consider the charges as soon as this week, and the full House could vote by next week.
Coming up after CBS this morning, CBS News will be bringing you a special report on the impeachment inquiry that starts at 8 a.m. All right, breaking overnight, New Zealand police say they are opening a criminal investigation into the deaths of tourists on White Island. This announcement comes as a 6th death is confirmed and 8 others are presumed dead, with unstable conditions affecting search efforts. The Associated Press reports authorities will investigate whether safety standards weren't up to par. There are still questions over why tourists were allowed on the island under such a high volcano alert level.
Breaking now into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. Police say at least 4 people are dead after a hospital shooting in the Czech Republic. 2 others are seriously injured this morning, and the shooter is still at large. It happened early this morning about 200 miles east of Prague. People are evacuated from the hospital and security is being increased across that country.
New information now. A series of cyber attacks are hitting the city of Pensacola. Officials are investigating whether those attacks are related to last week's deadly Naval Air Station shooting. Authorities say it's affected city emails and phones, online payments, and customer service. The FBI says it has not identified a connection as of this morning. A City of Pensacola spokesperson says they have disconnected several city services until the issue can be resolved. However, 911 and emergency services are not impacted.
Meanwhile, a Justice Department review confirms there's no evidence of political bias in the FBI's investigation into the Trump campaign's Russia ties in 2016, despite finding several procedural errors in the investigation. For years, President Trump has called the probe a witch hunt and is now dismissing the finding. The nearly 500-page report was heavily critical of the FBI, citing 17 significant inaccuracies and omissions. It also says a lot of the information in Christopher Steele's dossier was corroborated. The Inspector General will testify in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee to discuss the report tomorrow.
All right, back home now. Big changes are coming to the Wisconsin National Guard.
Governor Tony Evers says General Donald Dunbar is resigning. This following a 6-month-long investigation into how the Guard handles sexual assault reporting. The report details several ways the Wisconsin National Guard failed sexual assault survivors in just about every stage of the process. The governor puts investigators' 21 recommendations into an executive order requiring the Guard to make a corrective action plan for preventing misconduct. The Guard will also need to make a new office that'll help survivors of assault and people who claim retaliation for coming forward.
The governor says he's extremely upset and concerned with what investigators found. He said in a statement, quote, "Our service members deserve to be safe and supported while carrying out their mission." The governor has put a brigadier general in charge of the Guard for the time being, though Dunbar won't finish until the end of the year.
6:17 is your time. 'Tis the season for holiday shopping, but more and more people are going into debt in Madison because of overspending for Christmas. Coming up, how you can avoid those January blues.
You might want to stay on the couch and shop online today. We've been warning you about today's Alert Day forecast. Hattie's tracking temperatures in the teens when News 3 Now This Morning returns.
Get
6:21 on, what day is it?
Tuesday.
Tuesday morning.
Oh, no, it's only Tuesday,
gosh,
Josh.
that was bad.
Oh, boy, we have a long week ahead.
It's okay.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll take
See what
this.
this cold air is doing to me?
It's a brain fart. No worries. No worries.
Oh, my.
Well, behind us, Josh, we have the Platteville camera, which is cool because skies are actually clear there. So we have
I'm
sunshine.
leaving.
Take a nap, Josh.
Yeah, we'll take it from
We
here.
got this.
Yeah, sunshine in the forecast today, but very cold conditions. We're still dealing with a little bit of flurry activity here in Madison. As we saw in Platteville, those skies are clear. The flurries have already come to an end there. Your bus stop weather forecast has temperatures only in the teens. Put all the extra layers on the kids this morning. Our high is just 16 degrees. What it's going to feel like, though, is even colder. When you factor in that west-northwesterly wind, wind chills are going to be hovering below zero at the bus stop this morning, only improving into the single digits above zero this afternoon. Stay warm today.
Thank you very much, Addie. We will. We have some advice this morning on how to make sure your presents make it to your loved ones this holiday season. If you're staying in this morning and ordering something online, the Better Business Bureau has 5 tips for you to make sure you don't fall for shipping scams or get swindled out of a package by thieves. One of the scams they're warning us about involves fake missed delivery tags. They have fake numbers on there, so they will ask you to reschedule your delivery, all in a ploy to steal your information. We have more red flags to look up for. Those are up on channel3000.com. Now, if you have a question about a scam, a suspicious business, or any consumer complaint, our Call for Action volunteers can help you out with that. They're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 until 1. You can reach them at that number right there on your screen. That's 608-270-2833.
6:23 on your Tuesday morning. 'Tis the season for giving and overspending. Experts say the average shopper will spend more than $1,000 for Christmas this year, which is 4% more than last year. I'm taking a closer look at how you can ring in the new year free of holiday debt.
You wait for January, and then it hits, and you're going, oh, what did I do? You know, it's like a hangover.
Sue Peck just couldn't stand to look at her family's finances after Christmas.
For me, it was always this like underlying like, what's going to happen at the end of all of this? Because I still have 2 more weeks, and I still have all these people that I need to buy things for. And
so she decided to make a change. She and her husband started tracking their spending to avoid that holiday spending hangover.
we really plan it out for the entire year, saying over the course of the year, this is what we would like to spend on gifts. And this is going to include birthdays, holidays, and anniversaries.
When you go back to thinking about what you were doing before you were doing all of this, what comes to mind? Like when you think about not budgeting?
Not budgeting. I mean, it was kind of fun because you're just spending money, right? But for me, there was always this stress in the back of my mind, like, well, how much has this added up to?
It's really, really important to make a budget and try and stick to it.
Marketing specialist Kristen Utek says right away you should figure out who you're going to buy for and how much you're going to spend for each of those people.
It's super easy to put a bunch of stuff on your credit card, and then January comes, you get your credit card bill, and you're like, whoa, I didn't expect to spend that much. So trying to pay cash only during the holiday season can also be really helpful.
Just look at this list.
The best way, she says, make a list and check it twice.
Keep track of how much you're spending. Keep all the receipts, and on a regular basis, write those on your budget so you do know how much that you have spent as you're going.
Online shopping is usually your best option if you're looking for a quick and easy deal. She says you should also keep an eye out on retailers' Facebook pages where they often post special offers you can only get with a certain code.
People often look for the lightning deals on Amazon, which can sell out in minutes or hours, but those are usually the best deals.
If you're still worried about spending, get creative.
You could give the gift of service to someone, like I'll help you with dog watching, or I'll babysit. You can use reward miles. You can use bonus incentives, look for the best deals. So there's a lot of other things that we can do when we're looking at holiday gift giving.
Utek says it is crucial to save up all year long. So find the best way for you to budget. For Sue, that's using the app Good Budget, where she can manually keep track.
We feel much more comfortable on a daily, monthly basis. We know exactly where our money is going. And going into the holiday season, we did buy a couple of things on Black Friday. We did buy a couple of things on Cyber Monday, but we didn't go too overboard because they were definitely things that we had in mind.
Happy shopping. Sue Pack recently started her own business that focuses on budgeting and finances because she wants to help others cut down on their financial stress. You can read up more about her tips and tricks over on channel3000.com. And of course, we are keeping this conversation going about prices in Madison. News 3 Now wants to know what kind of affordability questions you have or what your family is experiencing. You can just let me know on social media or email.
It is so easy to just sort of forget about how much money you're spending. You lose track of it if you're not writing everything down.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've actually started to, and what they mentioned in there, is if you use cash, it's a lot harder to pull the money out of your wallet versus just swiping the credit card. So
some really good advice.
Yeah, happy shopping. Just be careful out there. All right, still ahead for us. We've got the top 3 things you need to know this morning before you head out the door.
And our Keely Arthur is telling us when we can expect to see Lake Mendota freeze over. That's right after the break when News 3 Now This Morning continues.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Tuesday, December 10th. I'm Leah Lynchide.
And I'm Josh Breiter. Hattie's updating her alert day forecast. It is one of our top 3 headlines this morning. But first, House Democrats plan to announce the 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump later this morning. Lawmakers will accuse the president of abuse of power and obstruction of justice. Republicans, meanwhile, argue Democrats just want the president out of office. CBS News will have live, complete coverage of that announcement after 8 a.m.
We are following breaking news overnight into the Channel 3000 Alert Center. New Zealand police say they're opening a criminal investigation into the deaths of tourists on White Island. The country's most active volcano erupted there yesterday. 5 people were killed, 6 confirmed this morning. 8 others are presumed dead as unstable conditions affect search efforts.
And we've been warning you all week. Today is an alert day as the Arctic blast moves into our area. Homeless shelters are under a cold weather emergency for tonight and tomorrow night and are letting anyone over their 90-day limit stay the night and escape the cold. And to help us fight that bitter cold this morning, Hattie McLean has your out-the-door forecast. Hi, Hads.
Good morning, Josh and Leah. Yeah, it's definitely a day to wear all the layers. Wind chills are around 10 degrees below zero in some spots this morning. High temperatures will only be in the teens, which is well below normal for this time of the year. In fact, here's a look at your wind chill forecast over the next 12 hours. As you go through the day today, wind chills will hover close to zero this morning and then top out only in the single digits above zero this afternoon. So bundle up before you leave the house this morning. We are still dealing with a little bit of light snow activity here in Madison and points to the east. Those flurries, though, have come to an end to the west, and they shouldn't impact travel at all this morning. In fact, taking a look at the travel maps early today, some brake lights on the Beltline right around Stoughton Road, getting a little busier in the downtown areas as well, but no major delays to tell you about right now. You're still going at posted speeds as you head into Madison. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we'll talk about when this cold snap is going to come to an end. We have great news. By the end of the week, temperatures are expected to moderate.
All right, thank you very much, Hattie. So despite today's forecast, Lake Mendota is not staying as frozen as long as it once did.
Scientists blame climate change, and our Keely Arthur joins us live from Lake Mendota with a closer look at the trends. Hi, Keely.
Hi, Josh and Leah. Yeah, I feel like I'm working for the Weather Channel. We have the waves splashing up near me, the wind's going, and, you know, we're trying to kind of figure out when these lakes are actually going to freeze. If today's weather is any indication, it's probably pretty soon, but we don't really know. And obviously, once these lakes freeze, it's a great opportunity to do a ton of really fun activities. Ice fishing, ice skating, just taking a stroll out on the lake even. But when it's going to freeze, we don't know. If last year was any indication, it's really a crapshoot. Last year, Lake Mendota famously froze twice. The first time on record was once in December, and then it quickly thawed. The lake officially froze over January 10th, one of the latest days in the nearly 160 years that's been tracked. Now, UW limnologists believe Lake Mendota could begin having winters where it doesn't freeze over entirely as early as this winter, or at least within the next decade, but it really does vary.
In the early 2000s, we only had 21 days of ice cover on our lakes. So last year we had about 80 some days. So it is back and forth, and it is one of those things that people do enjoy guessing because it's not set in stone as far as when it will freeze or when it will thaw.
Is it gone?
Great.
All right, obviously climate change is impacting other local lakes like Monona. Mendota is often talked about because it is one of the most studied lakes really in the world due to the fact that the UW Limnology Department is right down shore from me. And one of the ways that you can actually help in terms of lake health is there are still a lot of those leaf piles that need to be collected. Make sure that you are going to pack those up and bring them to the proper drop-off centers, because if you don't, those leaves are going to come into the lake, and that creates a toxic environment. That's what leads to those blue-green algae blooms that you hear me talk about so much in the summer. So we're always talking about the lakes, but this time around it's about the freezing lakes, Josh and Leah.
All right, Keely, don't blow away out there. Keely Arthur live along Lake Mendota. Thanks, Keely.
Okay, coming up this morning in the Sprint, we are bringing you the latest on a series of cyber attacks that could be linked to a recent mass shooting.
Also ahead, we've gone from the 40s down to the teens in just a day. It's hard to even know where the temperature should be. Chris Reese joins us next as we take a look at where the thermometer should sit as we head into the holidays. This is News 3 Now this morning. 6:38. It may feel a little more like winter out there this morning, but we're going to take a trip back to fall, shall we?
Just a beautiful photo, a little more orange than the red we're seeing all over the studio this morning.
Yeah, Jeannie really took a great photo. I always love the leaves. I could really deal with fall all year long if I could.
Hey, you want to send us in autumn photos all year? You do that. We will air them. Thank you so much for sending this one.
Or
in.
even summer-like photos so
Why
we can get
not?
out of this winter chill. Yeah, you can do that to us over up on our Facebook page.
All right, so you know our Chris Reese is crossing his fingers for a white Christmas and checking his models every day for the odds.
Yeah, he's in this morning to tell us how our chances are looking 2 weeks out from Christmas Eve, Chris. It's right around the corner.
It is right around the corner. Yesterday we talked about the storm track that you need for some snow, and oddly enough it was somewhat in our favor, but the other thing we need is cold air. And oddly enough, it has been cold, but we've been above average for pretty much all of December so far. Today, I do think things change, and as we go through the next 3 days, I think we will see temperatures that are below normal before temperatures go back above normal. Our average high, by the way, 32. We're half of that today. We'll see those temperatures going above normal by the time we get you towards the weekend, then perhaps another brief dip below before we go back above normal towards the end of that 10-day stretch. Folks, this is what's responsible for the colder air that we are seeing right now, but as this dip in the jet stream begins to send that colder air back towards Canada, we'll notice temperatures becoming at least a little bit milder. Then we'll get another cold shot earlier next week. But then the pattern, even though we're staying colder, does still try to trend milder compared to where things have been. In fact, the 8 to 14 day outlook, this goes from December 17th through the 23rd, favors above normal temperatures for much of the country. That does include us right here in the upper Midwest. It's not necessarily the best news if you are looking for a white Christmas, but at least some of the models still do show chances for some snow between now and the big day. Here we are on December 14th. This is the European model of Future Track. It does show a snow event. The problem is that's the only one it shows between now and December 20th. In fact, we're running this through time, and well, that was it. So if we end up with warmer temperatures from the 17th to the 23rd, any snow that it puts on the ground runs risk of melting before we get towards Christmas. So these are the things that we have to pay very close attention to. Because of this and the warmer trend, I am dropping our snow chances from 60% to 50%. No, but we're not giving up hope. Here's why. I was looking at another model because I'm looking at all of them. And here's the deal. On Christmas Eve into Christmas Day, there are multiple models that do show a snow event. Now, the models that I'm able to show folks at home on the air don't go out that far. But thankfully, we have a lot more tools to use for forecasting. So the hope is still alive. And things change on a daily basis when it comes to weather forecasting. So I don't know if there will be snow, but have a cup of cheer. So, yeah,
we should start a quartet. Where's Hattie? Let's go. Let's do this. Caroling.
I can just picture Chris back there looking at every, okay, let's try this model. Let's try this one. Which one has snow?
Oh, yeah.
So this weekend I was away and I didn't have my phone. And it was just really funny because I can't tell you how many times I was like, you know, I could really look at the models, right?
Oh, my goodness. So, yeah. Obsessed. We appreciate it, though.
We do.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Chris.
My pleasure.
All right. Right now, we're continuing to monitor alert day conditions across southern Wisconsin as we talk about some extreme cold across the area. A live look at a very cold-looking Lake Mendota this morning.
And a windy one at that.
Yeah, very windy. Hattie will have your alert day forecast coming up next.
But first, it's Tuesday, December 10th. We want to say happy birthday to Evan, Xander, and all of the kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning. Have a great day.
For a clear, easy-to-understand forecast, watch First Alert Weather.
Today is an alert day for southern Wisconsin and tomorrow as well. Not for precipitation, but for the cold temperatures that we're experiencing. High temperatures in the teens, which is about half of where they should be this time of the year. We should still be in the 20s. Morning wind chills down as low as 10 below at times. So again, bundle up as you head out the door the next couple of days. Here's a look at your future track wind chill forecast through the day, so you know what to expect. This morning, again, many areas already with wind chills below zero. As we go through time towards the lunch hour, we'll see a little bit of improvement. Sunshine with us today, but wind chills still in the single digits above zero. That's about as good as it gets. Wind chills will already be back close to zero by 5 p.m. when you head home from work, and then quickly drop below zero through the evening hours. Now, the core of coldest air is going to be overhead tonight into early tomorrow morning, so we're waking up nearly the same tomorrow morning. Now, here's a look at our Doppler track this morning. You're also waking up to a few flurries here in Madison, and especially east of Madison as you head over towards Milwaukee. That flurry activity really has come to an end already in southwestern Wisconsin. And looking at a wider view, pretty quiet across Minnesota and Iowa right now. Holes in the cloud cover, that's what we're watching this morning. Still a little bit of cloud cover lingering for south-central Wisconsin, but where skies have cleared to the west, temperatures are the coldest. Temperatures have dropped below zero there. Take a look at that travel weather, though, for the entire part of the country, and you'll see rain in the forecast from Texas all the way up to New York. That's along a cold front that will be working its way eastward. You can see a pretty big drop in the temperatures behind that front. We are on the cold side of things here in the Midwest section of the country. No weather to speak of, really, just sunny skies, but very cold conditions. Take a look at current temperatures right now for the region. 2 below in Minneapolis. It's just 4 in Wausau. Des Moines is at 13. That's pretty close to what we are here in Madison. We're still in the teens, but temperatures have dropped quickly into the single digits. The Dells now 9, 6 in Boscoville. Prairie du Chien is at 4 degrees. So coldest air right now where the skies have cleared. Your future track forecast model through the day today calls for a continued clearing trend over the next couple of hours. In fact, by lunchtime, we're looking at clear skies for all of southern Wisconsin. That west-northwesterly wind, though, will keep a chill in the air today. As we mentioned, those wind chills staying close to zero through the day. By 5 p.m., temperatures already starting to drop back. It's going to be another cold night tonight as temperatures bottom out in the single digits below zero, or above zero. Wind chills will likely be below zero, though. Cold through the day on Wednesday, but then a nice rebound in temperatures as we head towards the end of the week. We're actually above freezing Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with some small chances for snow. No major accumulations right now. We'll keep our eye on it, but generally the forecast quiet over the next 10 days. Here's our pet walk forecast. This is Raylan. The full name of this dog, U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens, after a character in an Elmer Leonard novel. The Marshal, as they refer to him, watches our show every morning.
Quite astute.
Looks like Raylan got a blowout. Is that what you call it?
Yes, yes.
Very regal.
Fashionable officer.
Better hair than us.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
Stay with us for the morning sprint up next. 6:52, time for the morning sprint as we get you out the door with everything you need to know.
That includes an alert day due to some extreme cold to start out your Tuesday. Hattie McLean is here with the details. Hi, Hattie.
Good morning. That's right. We do have some light snow coming to an end, but very cold conditions this morning. Skies are clearing already west of Madison, and that's allowing for a very chilly start. Temperatures have dropped below zero. Take a look at your wind chill forecast for the day. We're talking wind chills right around zero this morning, climbing only a few degrees as we go into the afternoon.
Lake Mendota could be frozen in the next 10 days if history is any indication. On average, it freezes December 20th, but it's kind of becoming a bit of a crapshoot. We're seeing fewer frozen days here, and the days are getting later and later in terms of that actual freeze date. Now, Lake Mendota famously froze twice last year, once in December and then once again January 10th. UW limnologists believe Lake Mendota could begin having winters where it doesn't freeze over entirely as early as this year, or at least within the next decade. Josh?
Keely, thank you. Breaking news, police say at least 4 people are dead after a hospital shooting in the Czech Republic. 2 others are seriously injured this morning, and the shooter is still at large. It happened early this morning about 200 miles east of Prague. People are evacuated from the hospital and security is being increased across the country.
We are following more breaking news nationally. New Zealand police are opening a criminal investigation into the deaths of tourists on White Island. The country's most active volcano erupted there yesterday. 6 people were killed. 8 others are presumed dead as unstable conditions affect search efforts.
House Democrats plan to announce 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump later this morning. Lawmakers will accuse the president of abuse of power and obstruction of justice. Republicans, meanwhile, argue Democrats just want the president out of office. CBS News will have live coverage of that announcement after 8.
The president is tweeting this morning saying the FBI is, quote, badly broken. This comes after a Justice Department review found no evidence of bias in the FBI's Russian investigation. The report did find several procedural errors, though. The nearly 500-page report was heavily critical of the FBI, citing 17 significant inaccuracies and omissions.
Officials are investigating whether a series of cyber attacks in Pensacola are related to last week's deadly Naval Air Station shooting. Authorities say it's affected city emails and phones, online payments, and 311 customer service. The FBI says they have not identified a connection. A City of Pensacola spokeswoman says they've disconnected several city services until the issue can be resolved.
Governor Evers says General Donald Dunbar will resign following a 6-month-long investigation into how the Wisconsin National Guard handles reporting sexual assaults. The report details several ways the Guard failed survivors. Governor Evers put investigators' recommendations into an executive order requiring the Guard to make a corrective action plan.
The Waukesha South High School student who pointed a pellet gun at officers leading to a police shooting is facing 5 charges. One of those is a felony. 18-year-old Tyrone Smith was shot 3 times after officers say he ignored their commands. Charges against Smith include making terroristic threats and possession of a dangerous weapon at school. He's set to be in court again 1 week from today.
In Oshkosh, the school resource officer who shot a student who stabbed him is back home this morning. Officer Michael Wissink got a surprise police escort on his way home from the hospital yesterday. The 16-year-old, meanwhile, is facing charges of attempted first-degree intentional homicide.
The Madison Plan Commission is leaving Edgewood's master plan in place, upholding the agreement prohibiting the college and high school from hosting nighttime sporting events at its field. A city attorney says even though the master plan was upheld, the city council still has the final say. There's also still legal pending action, which Edgewood filed in August against the city.
The Madison School District is looking to spend $4 million on a new building for students with special needs. The State Journal reports the building would house programs for about 3 dozen students. An advocate on the autism spectrum is calling it a, quote, expensive segregated facility plan. Board members say segregation is a concern, but they also want kids to experience an environment that sets them up for success.
Menomonee Falls High School is retiring their controversial mascot at the end of the school year. The school board voted to get rid of the Indians nickname in a 5-2 vote. It comes after months of debate and a night of emotional testimony. Most of the residents who spoke wanted to change the name, but others fought to keep it. The committee, made up mostly of students, will decide on a new name.
6:56 now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your Tuesday First Alert traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. Continuing to pick up now on the westbound side of the Beltline, especially between Stoughton Road and Menomonee Drive. It's going to add at least a couple minutes to your drive time. Starting to tap the brakes on inbound John Nolan at Rimrock, and then again at Olin Avenue as you make your way into downtown. And other main routes coming into the city, they're still cruising along at the usual speeds right now with no major crashes or delays. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And we have quite a few clouds still lingering here in Madison, even a few flurries flying. Those clouds acting as a blanket for us, keeping temperatures in the capital city up just a little bit. As skies clear, look for temperatures to drop a couple more degrees. And then sunshine this afternoon with highs only at 16 degrees. Wind chill is going to be a factor today, guys. It is going to feel like it's right around 0.
Ooh, layer up. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us. Stay warm, everyone, and go make it a great day.